Now watching Sporting Icons on YouTube. Subscribe.
Alright everyone, he's back. He's back again. The WBO Global Welterweight Champion, Luther Clay. Good to have you, man.
Yeah, how you doing, man? Nice to talk to you again, bro.
All good, all good. So how's training going?
Yeah, training was going very well. This was the last hard week of training. But yeah, it's been a good training camp, and yeah, improved a lot of stuff.
Are you training in your normal gym, or have you been around?
Obviously, I just started training with Adam Martin in Adam Booth's new gym. So I've been training alongside those guys. So yeah, that's what I've been training for the last 10, 11 weeks.
It looks nice there.
Yeah.
It looks nice in there.
Yeah, it's a nice gym, man. It's just got everything you need, and it's just a nice gym, and it's got a lot of world class athletes in and out, and yeah, you just get a lot of good sparring in house, and obviously you get a lot of guys coming in to spar as well, so it's perfect, really.
Yeah. Have you been sparring Josh Kelly then?
No, I haven't been sparring Josh because normally I do, but where I was preparing for my own fight with Chris Kongo, I was preparing for a specific style. Mm-hmm. So we didn't bother sparring Josh because he wasn't the type of style that we needed. So me and my trainer Adam Martin have been getting people in and sparring people that are similar to in dimensions and style to the person who was going to be fighting. So, but I had been watching a lot of Josh's spars, and he was looking very good.
Well, he's in a very good fight, isn't he? He's in a very tough fight.
Yeah, he did have a hard fight with Evan coming up. Yeah, that was a very intriguing fight, which obviously everyone's been looking forward to for a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know if obviously now probably we're not going to have to see happen as we were next week.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that was my question because at the minute we don't know if it's still on, do we?
I don't think there hasn't been an official statement, but I mean, from the British board, I've just seen obviously everyone's just seen an announcement that they've cancelled all shows, so it probably won't happen because obviously we're all licensed by the British board, so.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's pretty much an official, unofficial announcement, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that fight with Chris Kongo, that was a real doozy of a fight, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, man. That was gonna be my breakthrough fight. You know, that was just a big fight altogether. Everyone knows Chris, and everyone has high expectation of Chris and everything. And for me, I was really looking forward to the fight because I was gonna get this. Not a big name, but he is a name. He's a name that people know, and for me, it was it was that fight. Kind of like just like in the early days when you see Tony Bellew and Nathan Cleverly, like, do you know what I mean? That kind of fight. Those kind of two young, hungry fighters going into it, and the best comes out even better, and even the loser probably would have come out in good position in good stead. So I was really looking forward to it. It's a shame about all the just stuff that's nothing to do with anybody, just craziness of Mother Nature, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, with Chris, I mean, there's no like a real history with you guys, is there? There's no beef or anything.
Nah, there's no beef. There's no beef. I don't know him. He don't know me. But yeah, it's just when opportunity arises and two hungry guys both need the fight. So and I think maybe there was a bit of animosity there. And when the fight gets redone in the future, it will be the same because we're both hungry, both believe we can win. So yeah, it would have been a good fight, and it will be a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go in there the most active fighter because is it over a year since he fought, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, been a year or whatever. People keep stating it. Yeah. So yeah, hasn't been the most active due to those pullouts and stuff like some things mostly out of his control.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. So he hasn't been that active. So
yeah, because he just signed up with Dillian White as well, didn't he?
yeah, signed I think management deal with Dylan White, which is obviously and credit on his behalf, him signing with Dylan White, he probably didn't need to fight someone like me, and he still wanted to fight me, and which obviously thinks he can beat me, which is good enough, which is good because that just means I think I can beat him, he thinks he can beat me, so the fight can definitely get done again in the future.
Yeah.
Near future, whenever.
Well, that was probably the first time that I would have probably been on the opposite side of the fence to Dillian White.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's a shame about that. It really is a shame. But as I said, hopefully they grab hold of all this crap that's going around and contain it. And then life moves on.
Yeah, it's really hard. Normally you can talk about future plans or your next fight, but now it's kind of like there's really nothing to talk about because everything's been kind of shut down and you're kind of not in a bleak, but you're like, man,
yeah,
it's gonna be ticking over for 2 to 3 to 4 months, maybe. We don't know how long this thing's gonna be around. So
no,
yeah,
right.
it's a weird time to be a sportsman or anyone that's in live events. Really, it's a weird one.
That's right.
And who knows? Who knows what's gonna be happening?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, something that people aren't looking at as well is that unfortunately it affects all your guys' money as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of got myself a backup plan in case someone want to do if I can't get any. I do security on the side anyway. Like,
Oh, do
when
you?
I'm not boxing. Yeah, I do security. So I'll obviously just pick up more shifts and do that. But it is hard. It's just gonna have to be taken over in the gym and working here and there until everything kind of picks up. I guess Yes, it's definitely not the nicest feeling, but yeah, it's not gonna be forever. Do you know what I mean?
No, of course.
It's gonna be it'll end hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, hopefully. So you say that you're going to keep on going to the gym, you're going to keep on grinding. So once you get the all clear, it's just a case of you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can do really. Can't afford to get out of shape and lose stead into momentum. Like I've been learning a lot of things in the gym, been improving, doing sparring with people. So probably obviously ease off the sparring because you don't want to be sparring all the time.
Yeah.
But I will stay in the gym. I'll take it down from like 5 days a week to 3 or 2, and just stay in shape, keep moving, rest the body a little bit. But hopefully, if the call get given all clear, all we need is about 6 weeks to get something done. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I want to do, and hopefully. Hopefully we'll definitely get this fight rescheduled when everything all clears, really.
I think that was the first time. Because remember when we spoke before, because obviously you've been here like a couple of times, and we said that you're more of a case of you do talking in the ring. But in this build-up, you were letting that boy have it, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm not really a talker, but I think it's one of them things like, I wasn't. I just came in there to do the usual. Yeah, it's gonna be a hard fight. Yeah, blah blah blah. Because I really don't care about all that talking stuff. But
yeah,
it's if someone gives talk to me, what I mean, I'll talk back. It's not a case where I would sit there and let you talk in. Do you know what I mean? It's just that I don't like to speak, but it doesn't mean I can't.
Yeah.
So I think they were more surprised. They were surprised, like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? So I was just like, whatever, man. It don't bother me because I know when I get into the ring,
yeah,
I know how to fight, and that's what I do. I like fighting, and I don't have to talk about, oh, you don't want it, you're not ready, or this. I know what I'm coming to come do, so it's nothing to me really. But like I said, there's no beef. It's just when we get in there, we're gonna fight, and we're gonna see who's blowing smoke.
Yeah. Was it a case of that you snapped at him because he interrupted you?
Yeah, that's basically it, man. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like, he just sat there, let him speak, and then while I'm speaking, he feels the need to interrupt me, like, "Oh, you voted for him." I'm like, "Shut up, man." Do you know what I mean? It's schoolboys. I understand if there's a beef, or maybe he's trying to big man, little man me or something, but I was like, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't bothered. I was like, "Shut up," you know.
Yeah.
It's just immature, but yeah, that's boxing, man. You can't be afraid of confrontation. So
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it though. I was, I mean, I probably watched it probably about, I don't know, probably like 100 times on repeat. Do you want a medal?
yeah, I need to release some t-shirts actually.
Yeah, you should do.
To release some t-shirts of that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I mean, I suppose what we can't do is like a talk about the future and this, that, and the other at the minute. But what we can do is talk about the past. Did you watch the Fury Wilder fight?
Yeah, do you know what? I haven't even watched the fight. I've watched the highlights,
Right.
but you know what? Like I don't know. It's weird. When I was in training camp, I've been training so hard and so like sparring all the time. I kind of get sick of boxing.
Yeah.
So like, I normally don't even watch the fights when I'm training. I might watch like highlights, which I did see the highlights, obviously.
Yeah.
And I know about obviously the whole weird backlash of the gloves and stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, Fury looked amazing. Changed it up. You know, was on the front foot, throwing combinations, really committing to his punches. I still don't think Fury's like a hard puncher, but he's a sharp and stiff, and he's a big guy. And I think Deontay Wilder has never been in the position where he's had to fight on the back foot. He fights on the back foot because he chooses to, and he knows he's got the long jab and the hot, like the knockout right hand, but he's never been pressed into a position where he's been physically made by punches and pressure to move back unwillingly. And he just wasn't used to that, and you could see that. And yeah, Fury looked amazing. Fury looked amazing in there.
That's one of the things that I've been saying for a while. That's why I've always wanted Dillian to fight Wilder, because I felt that's what it is that Dillian would have done.
Do you know what? For a long time, I personally thought Dillian White would have got knocked out by Wilder.
Right.
And I still personally believe he would. Only simply because of the way it's weird. Dillian is very tough and strong, and he's a good puncher, but he's too not plodded, but I thought the speed is the issue. Like the box, Dillian can actually box with Wilder, and I think he has enough crack in his power, left hook and straight right, to hurt Wilder. But I just thought it's the pace of which he moved at, and I felt like the way Wilder cuts distance with his feet and he launches that right hand down the pipe would have caught Dillian. And but I think that it's obvious now we've seen that fight. I think it's definitely, now I've seen Fury do that, and I'm thinking, okay, someone as physical as Dillian, you know, he would have a good chance to beat him. But I still think Wilder would have it, because I just think it's the stars. Like, as big as Fury is, he was able to use his body weight, but he does it with speed and finesse and feints and boxing. It's not the same as Dillian. I don't think you can go in with Wilder with just physicality, without speed and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just get hit or something on your way in if you're coming in without nothing. We still saw Fury in the first fight. He messed up once and he ended up on the floor twice.
Yeah.
And in this fight, obviously he added different dimensions, but not tell you that there's not a lot of heavyweights, a lot of boxers in the heavyweight division that have all those dimensions, that can move, that can feint, that can have a high output of punches, that are taller than you, jabbing you, straight right handing you, and even throw added body shots and stuff. I think the next complete boxer after Fury is AJ, but even AJ has stamina problems. Whereas Dylan White, I'm a big fan of Dylan White, but I just don't see him matching up with Fury that well, in my opinion. But it's definitely, now that I've seen it, it's definitely more, for me, feasible that he could beat Wilder, for sure.
Well, hopefully, Fury, he gets past Wilder again, and then we see Fury versus Dylan White.
Yeah, I mean, definitely he definitely needs the shot, because he's been that WBC for 100,000 years. So he definitely needs a shot, and of course, and Dylan White apparently put Fury down in sparring as well, according to
a couple of times
statements I've seen. And once again, styles make fights. Fury couldn't impose his will on Dylan White like that, because Dylan's got a will, a big heart, big heart, and I think in terms of will, I actually think Dylan has a bigger will than Fury, and I don't think Dylan he's more stable. Do you know what I mean? He can take a punch.
Mm.
In terms of, like, we're talking about punches, but we don't, we know Fury hasn't got the punch to put out Dylan like that.
Yeah.
Regardless of what he did to Wilder, it's different people, and so I think Dylan would be sturdy enough to take the punches from Thingy, and he'd believe in himself enough to go for it and walk through the punches, whereas Wilder was just, like, confused about what was happening, and he kind of went into a shell.
Yeah, I think that you bring up some good points there, because I hear like a lot of like a Fury fan saying that he'll do the same thing to Dylan White, but Dylan White isn't Wilder. Dylan White will fight dirty back if he has to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Dylan White, some boxers get hit and they move back. Some boxers get hit and they move forward.
Yeah.
That's who Dylan White is. You hit him, he's gonna move forward. Do you know what I mean? You saw it against AJ. He got hit with some shit.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He come back. He's still stepping forward, legs all over the place. And what happened? He rocked AJ for the first time. So we know Dylan, even against Joseph Parker, he was down in that fight. He was down against Oscar Rivas. But what did he do? He come back. So it's not the same. It's not the same person. Styles make fights, and you can't use the triangle theory at all in boxing.
No, that's exactly right. One punch can change anything, can't it? Never write anybody off.
One punch, yeah, definitely. And I think in that fight, that's a really intriguing fight. I would much rather see Fury and Fury and White rather than Fury and Wilder again. Do you know what I mean? I'd like to see I would like to see that. I'd like to see Dylan get a shot. I'd like to see Wilder, work on some things and come back, because I think if it happens straight away, it's not going to be as... No one wants to see that fight right now. No one wants to see that fight.
Yeah,
no one's interested in it,
Yeah, I think that you could see something too much, and I think seeing the same guys fight 3 times within a short period of time is like, nah, we don't need this right now.
Trilogies only work when it's really back and forth. Like, the first fight was back and forth. It needed a rematch.
Yeah.
If it was the same this fight, but Fury won, but it was more like competitive, and do you know what I mean? There was blows landed on both ends. Then it would warrant a thingy. But the fight wasn't anticlimactic. It was a one-sided beatdown.
Yeah.
And the other guy, the main thing the other guy has to work on is his boxing skill, and this guy's never been a boxer. So you can't do things in one training camp in 8-10 weeks. Now, probably be even longer now, because of obviously the situation with this coronavirus stuff. But it's something that's not needed right now. Similar to Triple G Canelo. No one wanted to see that third fight. We still don't want to see it now. So
yeah,
I think they should do something different and then come back later to it if it needs be. But I'm sure we'll probably see the third one next.
Yeah, well, it's contractual, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, as a boxer yourself, how do you think that you can go 12 years with just one punch? I mean, surely surely you do learn other things. Is it a case of, do you think that he just switches off in the fights and he's too scared to try it in a fight?
You know what? Do you know what? Let me put it like this. When I was younger, I started boxing at 15, right?
Mm.
And I was a big chubby kid. My first fight was at 76 kilos, and I was obviously 5'7", 5'6". So I was a big short kid, right?
Right.
I had to learn early. To be able to box a different variety of ways on the outside and the inside, getting in. I had to learn how to recover from being hurt because I was fighting big guys. I had to learn a vast majority of tools in order to be able to survive in the ring, right?
Mm.
But imagine if you're the biggest kid at your weight, you're long, you've been boxing since you were 6 years old, you're probably more experienced than anyone you ever step in the ring with, you probably hit hard, you're snappy. So imagine growing up as the kid with all the tools, or the equalizer as Wilder has,
Mm-hmm.
and then being the chubby kid, short kid who's small for the weight, who's not really but he knows how to do a whole lot of things. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got one big thing. That one kid has to learn how to maneuver his way around in order to be, to be able to compete with others and win against others. But the other kid with the dimensions never has to. He obviously will train, but he relies on his physical attributes. So then, when you start leveling up and meeting people, big oppositions, if you never learned or had to use these other skills because you were so dominant, you will never develop other things. It's similar with if you take a look at people like Roy Jones Jr. when he was so dominant in his prime, his physical attributes were just out of this world. And you take someone like Bernard Hopkins, who he was average really physically, do you know what I mean? But he knew boxing down to the science. He studied it and he lived it. And then look how they aged after their physical prime went. Look who excelled later on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like with Wilder. Wilder hadn't had to learn a lot of tricks, but he was 6'7". He had a really long jab, fast jab, pinpoint jab, and a knockout right hand. And if you're a tall fighter, all you need to do is know how to box long. Yeah. Really, you know what I mean? Really. There's even people like Tommy Hearns. It was very rare you see Tommy Hearns throw like a left hook or uppercut. He threw a lot of jabs, and straight right hand down the pipe. Sometimes he'd throw a right uppercut, but do you know what I mean? If you have your tools, those are your tools, and if your tool is knocking everyone out, you're gonna believe in it a lot, especially in boxing. Like the more you keep winning, the more you forget that you can lose until you lose. So it's like that, I think I don't know. I think Fury. I think Wilder it's gonna be very hard to teach him anything. Like I've never seen Wilder throw a left hook and hurt somebody.
No.
Or a right uppercut on the inside,
no.
or throw body shots. I've never seen him throw a body shot.
No.
So yeah, it's just it would just be nice if you come back and you see something against a different opponent, see him try different things, see him hurt someone with a left hook, see him throw a body shot, because then at least you can leave to the imagination that, oh, he's working on this and he's going to bring something different. But if he's going to come in again and try jab with Fury and try land the right hand, that's the same thing Fury just has to prepare for, so yeah. So
well, I mean, when you look back at both the fights, a lot of people don't actually realise that Wilder was actually out jabbing Fury.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
But yeah, he just abandoned it in like block both fights. It was like, because he started off just out jabbing Fury, and as soon as he got hurt, he went back into like his shell and just started just taking punishment, and that's when Fury just took over.
Yeah, once again, it goes back to relying on what you always relied on. Yeah. If Fury, if he's hurt, he'll go back to relying on his boxing skills. Or if you hurt him from the outside, he's going to grit his teeth and go on the inside because he's had to learn all this different stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's coming up. but Wilder hasn't. You know, Power's always bailed him out. It's the same thing when you hear Teddy Atlas kind of talk about Mike Tyson.
You're right.
It's that same kind of thing. And even George Foreman in the first Ali fight, George Foreman would talk about all the time. He goes, I was shocked that this guy was standing up to my power and talking back to me. This has never happened before. And, you know, it took George Foreman how many years after retirement to come out and get over that mental scarring kind of thing. So it shows the difference in experience in the ring. It shows in the fights and the fighters, you know. So yeah, I don't know, but
you made a good point there. You made a really good point that you say about the mental scarring. I wonder how mentally scarred Wilder will be.
I think we can see how mentally scarred he is. He's out here. I know America is different, and America is very parted in racial tensions more than the UK are. You can even you see that thing where Wilder's talking about your king. Your king is here. He ain't talking about the general boxing fan. He's directing it to the black audience. You know, like the LDBC and all them guys. You know, for any hardcores, I know what that is. But he's directing a particular group of people that ride with him and ride with his ideologies and everything. And I think the way he's referring to himself almost in third person, your king, everything, you know, I think it shows like the ego's hurt. And I think, I don't think his ego's been hurt, and he's prideful, and that's why this rematch is gonna happen, because he's gonna be in denial, and I don't think it's gonna make for a good fight, you know. But you know, we'll see.
So as a fighter, I mean, would you prefer like your trainers or your friends, your family, whoever in that is around you, to tell you the truth? So listen, you're really messing up on like doing this. You're not doing that when we know you can do this. Or would you prefer yes men around you?
I think what you need I think you need three groups of people, right, as a fighter around you. You need the honest. You need the honest friend that's brutally honest with you and will tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. Then you need your trainer. You need your trainer to be supportive, but he needs to not put you down, but he needs to like correct you and tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. And then you need someone that's just positive. You know what I mean? Like you kind of need when you've taken a beating in sparring or trainer's not going well, you can't get something. You also need someone in the team that just uplifts your spirits. Not a hype man, but just someone that uplifts your spirits, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because as a fighter, if sparring's going bad or training's going bad and your trainer's telling you it's going bad and you know it's going bad, at the end of the day, you're only human. You're going to end up thinking, man, I'm not good, or do you know what I mean? This is not looking good. So like, you need a bit of everything. You need people that are critical, but then you also need someone that's positive, and do you know what I mean? You need a bit of everything, because it's very, very easy to let a bad day or a bad week, bad couple of spars get you down, and if you do, that takes away from your confidence as a fighter. But you just need a good balance of everything, because you need the bad to let you know, okay, I'm not doing this, or we've been trying to work on this and you're not implementing it. But then you need the good to think, okay, but what about what you did do? Okay, you know what I mean? You need a bit of everything, but you can't have yes men. You can't have yes men at all, I don't think.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you can't have yes men. You just need a bit of everything. But as you get up there, it's very hard to tell between the yes men and the friends, I guess. You know, once you start getting money, it's very hard. Only, you know, the snakes get better at disguising themselves.
I like that saying. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, because what I'm seeing is like a few people on Wilder's team, and of course a lot of his fan base as well, to keep on making excuses, but Fury was cheating, Fury was leaning over him, Fury was doing this. It's not about what Wilder didn't do, it's about what things that Fury was doing instead. The suit was too heavy.
Yeah, that's the wrong kind of people. I mean, everyone. everyone have those. I know a couple fighters that they'll make excuses, and I think, for example, when you lose a fight, that's the time for yourself to be critical about stuff. You know, it's not the time to be talking about what the other fight was doing or what this was happening or the judges or the ref. It's not the time for that. It's time for you to look at the fight, watch the fight back, and you and your coach to sit down and talk about what went wrong or what you didn't do or what he was doing that you couldn't cope with. That's the time to be doing that. It's because anything else is not going to help you improve, because you go into that second fight, you telling someone telling you that he was leaning on you is going to have no bearing on the thing. Or even if you're watching it back and you're saying, see how he's leaning on you and you're getting tired, maybe we need to work on your legs and core strength. Do you know what I mean? But it depends how you're going about it. But if you're going about it as an excuse rather than looking at it and going to go work towards improving the weakness, then it's not helpful at all.
Yeah, that's the thing, because what you need is that people say, okay, so Fury, okay, he was leaning over you, he was getting you in headlocks, but what are we going to do to fix that in the future?
Yeah, exactly.
So is that what happened with you then? Because obviously, like, you took a loss like earlier on. Was you like your own worst critic at that moment?
Yeah, like from that fight. If I watch that fight back, and I don't even have to watch the fight back because I remember it so vividly in my body now. I can close my eyes. That fight, the first, I think it was an 8-rounder. The first 4 rounds I lost.
Right.
And then the 4th round I started warming up, and then from the 6, 7, 8 I was beating the kid up. But it took me too long to get warmed up. I took too many jabs. You know, the guy didn't really land anything but a couple of jabs and some throwaway right hands. Yeah. But it was landing points, and I didn't know how to like slip punches. No, I knew how to slip punches. Well, I was slipping punches, but I wasn't moving in.
Right.
So I was slipping the punches, but I was still staying on the outside. So I was making him miss, but I wasn't getting anything. And then it got to a point where he was just doubling up, tripling up on the jab, and I was slipping punches, and I was still in the same place. So I couldn't get no offense off. And then by the time I realized, it was too late. So like, I just realized that, okay, if you're going to slip punches, you got to be cutting the ring off and setting yourself up to punch, you know, like, it's stuff like that you know. But, you know, I looked at that fight and I was like, oh man, I'm moving my head, but my feet are not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that. So, of course, you have to look it back here and you have to learn. And that's what I did. Like, no, I wasn't hypercritical. I mean, I think I would have been if I was getting beat up and just getting landed a lot of shots on me. But it wasn't the case. Just the fact that it's a 2-part plan. You got to make the guy miss, then you got to make him pay.
Right.
If you don't make him miss, you're doing part 1 of the plan. So for me, it was good because I knew what was going wrong and I knew what I had to do.
That sounds pretty good then, because when you left the ring, you already knew how to fix it then. like
I was saying, like I was in the fight and I was learning from it, and by the time I went to ring, I was like, goddamn it. Like, you know what I mean? So it was a real learning experience, and I don't think I'll ever be in that position again. You know.
To start faster. So have you learned how to pace yourself?
I've always had good pacing because I'm a methodical fighter. To be honest, it's just I've learned. I think I'd say I've learned more how to not take too long, and you know what I mean. Just, you know how they say slow starter. I'm always going to be a slow starter, but I don't need to give away rounds. You know.
Right.
If they're going to take the round in the early beginning, you got to make them really work for it. And while I'm figuring you out, I can't be just having a look, and not doing anything, and just giving away the rounds. You know. So that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
Even when I'm losing rounds, I'm putting something on you. I'm you know what I mean. I'm setting something up. I'm not just giving away the rounds and just looking.
Yeah. So do you like fighting then?
Yeah, I like fighting. I like fight. I think I like fighting. See, boxing's stressful. I liked it more when I was amateur because there wasn't like now it's like really a job. And
Right.
then, like I enjoy it, but it's hard because once you're in boxing, you really realize the scope of what you're actually trying to achieve. That makes sense. Like you start looking at the world champions, you're like, God. Then you start looking at the top 15 people, you're like, oh, okay. Then you start looking at the top 25, it's still like, man. Start looking at the top 50, and you're like, is this really what I'm trying to do? Do you know what I mean? So like, you start thinking, and then you start thinking like, it's very hard to make money out of this unless you're with, unless you're a name or you're a big promoter. And like I say, this fight that was coming up with Chris, that was really going to be the launching pad for me. And that's what really motivated me for the fight, because win this fight and all the troubles and everything probably would have went away. So that's why I'm so eager to get the fight made as soon as possible.
It's good with Al Siesta because he really believes in you.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows how to grow a fighter because he's done it. He managed David Avnasian before. He managed Bradis all the way to the world title. So he's done it. He knows how to grow a fighter.
Yeah, that's it. Well, his show got cancelled last week as well, didn't it? The one in Barcelona.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so there was meant to be a show in Barcelona in Spain, and that got cancelled. It's just happening everywhere, man. It's happening everywhere.
I mean, you're more of a, should we say, you're a Siesta boxing and matchroom fighter now, aren't you?
I'm Siesta boxing. If I would have won this fight, and if it would have happened, I would have been a matchroom fighter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, as I said, I'm sure that that fight will get rescheduled, and if not, there'll be plenty of other big ones out there for you anyway. Because the welterweight division is stacked, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing but fight. So I'm not short of fights. It's just just gonna see through this little rough patch and then get straight back on the ball, man.
Yeah. All right, and boss. I mean, my neighbours are starting to do their drilling and everything, so we best end it. Because I say, good luck in the very short future. Hopefully that they get boxing back on again. You get that rematch all set up and a new date and all that kind of stuff. Just keep yourself busy.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Definitely will. Thanks for having me on again, bro.
All right, boss. Anytime. You're always welcome here.
Cheers, man. Have a good day.
And you, bud.